Alright guys, so I don't know if this is going to work, but this is actually the finals of the big 1K tournament that is happening at the beginning of January. Um, the finals is between somebody that I actually know in Haymaker on Sapphire Steel. His name is Matthew Peddle. He is an OG Yu-Gi-Oh player from back in the day, so really excited to see him in top 8. He's from the Greater Toronto area in Canada here, and he's going up against Lorcana Twin. I watched the game previous to this one. I'm not sure if that was game 1 or game 2, but Lorcana Twin did take that game. And they are on a very unique build of Ruby Amethyst, as you can see on field here, playing that 2-drop Cusco, which is very interesting. This is a live match, by the way. This is happening right now in the Pixel Born spectate mode and in custom games. So it's pretty interesting to see. It's going to be a slow match, but we're going to be able to commentate over what we can. So Sapphire Steel on Matthew Peddle's side is a very interesting choice, and it really cut through a lot of the meta. Obviously, he would have went up against a lot of other Ruby Amethyst players and decks, and being able to come out on top on those decks is very important. Playing at my locals on Saturday and Sunday, I can tell you from being a Ruby Amethyst player myself that a whole new world disruption, even on the bounce deck of Ruby Amethyst, is still a very strong interruption against the control players because it resets tempo if you get it off correctly. And shout outs to one of my local guys named Ryan who understood correctly how not to play a whole new world. So I kept outing his cards that were the characters that could sing a whole new world because he knew that if he hard cast the whole new world, he would lose tempo. And so the reason I'm bringing that up here is because Matthew Peddle, who's a very, very intelligent player, very, very top tier. He has multiple top 8s at like Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals, which is a very complicated game if you don't know what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. And big tournaments, which is called like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series and stuff like that. Very, very smart guy. And he likely has leveraged these things to his advantage. The Sapphire Steel engine, as you can see here, focuses a lot on card draw. You have the Beast Tragic Hero, you have a whole new world, you have the Hiram engine, you have Popsicles, and then you have some big in-game threats. He is playing Tamatoas. He obviously has removal in terms of the Hades and the Let It Goes. So in case Steel can't deal with a threat, like let's say an opposing Ursula, he can Hades or Let It Go it to get it off the field. The issue is Ruby Amethyst also has an insanely powerful draw engine, and they have just the best removal in the game, being under Ruby, right? So you can see here Matthew Peddle is able to turbo out a Beast Tragic Hero. So he really does have an ideal setup here, and the faster he can draw his cards, the faster he can get to a whole new world, which really throws off the Ruby Amethyst player, right? Because when you think about it, if you've ever played Ruby Amethyst, you know that once you get the Merlins in rotations and the Mim cards, you're drawing a ton of cards. You're singing Friends, you're bouncing Merlin back with the Mim, you're drawing extra cards. Your hand is always stacked, or it should be once you get this engine rolling. And with a properly timed a whole new world, it really alters your standard lines of play because Lorcana Twin probably doesn't want to do those Mim bounce engine shenanigans, basically, to draw cards because he likely has to try to always think about a whole new world. And exactly what I said right there. I told you. Look at that. See, Matthew Peddle is so smart. Yeah, like Hades away the rabbit, make you draw your card, and then just discard everything. And I think we can see what they lost. That's awesome. Guys, I'm so sad I didn't post my updated Ruby Amethyst control video because I was on this card. If you watch the comments of my last video I did on my Exerting Control deck, I said the only thing I need an answer to is a way to deal with Mini Surfer, and I actually, at my locals, bought 2 foil fidgets to put into the deck to test because at a 3/2 body with evasive for 3, this card answers the Minnie Mouse. So you can see here that Lorcana Twin is on that tech. He knows the perfect counter to Minnie Mouse. When he's not on the play, this card is insane to do that. So Matthew sets up the triple popsicle on his end. That is great to see. And Matthew has total control. So like I said, Lorcana Twin won game 1. He likely went first. And again, if this is game 3, then Matthew is in an amazing position. But if this is game 2, Matthew went first. And, he's clearly in control. The scary part is he is only on 1 lore. And we're getting up to that Be Prepared range. So Lorcana Twin obviously must be a very good player to cut through the field like he did. I think there was over 600 players in this tournament. And so he's using the Olaf in order to bounce so that he can play Mim and take out the Beast. understandable, right? Get that 2 questing power off board. The Cusco crashing into it, draws a card so it replaces itself, but also puts the 1 damage on the beast so that it doesn't get its draw effects off, which is strong. But you can see the power of this Sapphire Steel deck. And now he drops the Hiram engine. Like, Matthew is in total control of this match because there's nothing that the Ruby Amethyst player can do in order to stop Matthew's engines here. Because he will play Flavorsham, which gets draw on play. And so Matthew will always have a hand at this point. He's able to ramp up ink whenever he wants because of the Fishbone Quill. Ruby Amethyst has no way to answer the items, right? This is why this deck, if you watch Bannable Harka's video, and I think RMB is the one who kind of, I don't want to say pioneered this deck, but I think he was the first one to have really good results with it. Or at least that's what I've seen on like Dreamborn and stuff and on the Discords. But this is why this deck is so good, is because once you establish this kind of game, like Ruby Amethyst has a really hard time dealing with it. Now, again, they do have the Be Prepareds. They do have ways to control the board after a Be Prepared. But again, with all of Matthew's draw engine, with all of the Sapphire Steel's draw engine, they should be able to play around it. So again, you can see the board state here. They're going to quest with the Olaf. I don't think they inked yet, right? I'm too busy talking. I wasn't paying attention to the match. But this is interesting. Okay, yeah, there's the ink of the Mim Fox, and undoubtedly a Be Prepared, right? Yeah. It doesn't show, I guess, the animation because we're in spectator mode. Yeah, there's the Be Prepared. So Matthew did, not Matthew, Lorcana Twin did lose their Elsa. But look at the advantage right now, eh? And Matthew has more ink. I keep calling him Matthew, sorry guys, I mean Haymaker. His name is on the tournament website, so it's not like I'm disclosing any kind of private information. It's on the website. His name registered for the tournament, and he is in the finals. This is another interesting tech card here, the Cruella. Again, a 3/2. Why? To deal with Minnie Mouse, right? You can see how much of a problem Minnie Mouse is. Now, the Cinderella is, a good drop, but against Ruby Amethyst, this card is definitely underwhelming because it just gets outed by so many things. I don't think Lorcana Twin is on Maleficent, so that is a huge plus for Matthew here because this card will basically only get outed by like Tremaines, be tapped down by the Elsas, and then it's very hard to run over this. Like Maui can still deal with it fairly well. Maui only deals 4 damage to it, but then you can finish it off with like a Mim or something. So you can see here Lorcana Twin establishes an Ursula, drain a lore, draw a card. Pretty good drop, especially if he has another Be Prepared that he can sing with this Ursula to regain tempo of the board, because then after singing Be Prepared, he'll have his full 8 ink available, or 9 ink potentially, on the next turn in order to set up a board himself. And once, this is where, at this point in the game, this is where Ruby Amethyst can start to come back. So for all that talk I said in the beginning about Blue Steel being so good in this scenario, Matthew really needs to put the pressure on, and he has to essentially hope that, he's already gone through 2 Be Prepareds on his opponent's side, that the opponent does not have multiple Be Prepareds. And to be honest, the Nothing to Hide there reveals Lorcana Twin's hand. There is no Be Prepared. There is 2 in the graveyard. He does have Mini Surfer. This is a great position for Matthew. Seeing this is amazing. And this is why this card is actually, Matthew is so smart, guys. I will review all 8 of their deck lists. Playing a card like this in the late game so that do I need to worry about the Be Prepared or not? I mean, it can be a plus or a minus because now you're playing afraid of a Be Prepared, so you're playing very carefully. But it is very, very strong, right? To know how much can I extend myself onto the board. And right now, he unless, Lorcana Twin top decks a Be Prepared, Matthew is fine to put on as much pressure as possible. And he can actually go wide on the board because he should have enough cards in his hand that even if the opponent does top deck a Be Prepared, Matthew can rebuild his board very quickly. You do have to be worried about decking out. He does have about half his deck left, which is good. And exactly what I talked about earlier, guys. This is why this deck works, is because when they drop a big threat, when Ruby Amethyst drops a big threat like the Ursula, you have answers. Whereas Steel would have a really tough time dealing with it. The Sapphire cards can deal with it because you have Let It Go's and Hades. So you can out that Ursula easily. And at this point in the game, for those of you wondering, the ramping of your opponent by giving them that extra ink, doesn't really matter too much because everybody has enough ink to play whatever they want. It's just a matter of how many interactions can I cast in a turn, and everyone's going to get up to like 12, 13, 14, 15 ink potentially. So Matthew is really going in now with the Hiram. I believe they only had one Cusco on the reveal of Nothing to Hide, so he may have top decked his Cusco there, giving a pretty nice tell. The issue that Matthew has to worry about here is that when these Cuscos get banished, they will draw 2 cards, like 1 each. So he has to be very wary of that. That's definitely taking out the mini, right? No, takes out... Oh, right, because this is only when banished. So putting it into the inkwell plays around the draw. See, Matthew is a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and this is how Yu-Gi-Oh players think. They know how important card advantage is, and he is trying to limit his draws. So I don't know why I said that, because yeah, he has the Cruella, like I was saying earlier, to deal with the Minnie Mouse. Doesn't even need it, though, because he has a Smash. So Matthew making me look real dumb here by just outplaying everything I'm saying. But that's why he's in the finals. And, he's doing work. So it looks like Matthew is in the driver's seat for this match, which is really, really nice to see. This is awesome. I'm really going for you there, Matthew. I hope you win. But it's not over yet. I can't believe how clutch that Nothing to Hide is, though. Honestly, that's honestly really nice. Just getting that knowledge. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, for those of you that don't know, there's a card that was really, really good back in the day when we used to play. Back in 2006, 2007, and it was called Trap Dust Shoot. When your opponent has 4 or more cards in their hand, they reveal their whole hand, and I think you take a card from it and you put it back into the deck. And that card got banned because it was so good. So Yu-Gi-Oh players know how important hand knowledge is. They know how important card advantage is. That's what the game was back in the day. Nowadays, the game is more based around like combos and stuff. It's a very complicated game. But Lorcana being in a simplified game state right now, like in terms of its overall meta, only having 2 sets out, a lot of those principles carry over here. So very nice synergy on Lorcana Twin side, utilizing that Teeth and Ambitions with the Cusco 1-drop in order to draw a card. Actually, that's a very nice combo. So we're seeing some new tech here. I didn't even think of that. That's very, very nice. Okay, Mim Fox, not really going to do too much here. Okay, now it's going to do something with the Crab. Being a 6-3, it can take out the Hiram. He opts to... Wait a minute. Oh, it is a 7-3, my bad, because, yeah, it's a 4-3 plus 3, 7. Gets over the resist plus 2 to take out the Cinderella. But, I mean, at this point in time, look at the card advantage from Matthew versus Lorcana Twin here. It's going to be... Yeah, this game is a foregone conclusion. It's a GG. And I'm kind of torn, because while I want Matthew to do well, I'm also a Ruby Amethyst player at heart. And so it hurts me to see Ruby Amethyst lose, but at the same time, I didn't record because I jumped in halfway of, I think, what was game 1, where the Ruby Amethyst player really just dominated from what I saw when I joined. So I can't feel too bad that, they're kind of getting the clap back right now. The bell will close out the game for sure. And like I said, the deck lists are public, so I'm pretty sure Matthew knows that he doesn't have to worry about Maleficent Dragon from Lorcana Twin. He is going extremely wide, but like I said earlier, he can afford to do this because even if a Be Prepared is top decked, Matthew has enough cards in hand to rebuild the board and go for a game anyways. So it's pretty much a GG. As I wrap up this video, guys, if you enjoyed this commentary, if you've enjoyed any of my other videos, or if you want to see more Lorcana content, make sure you check out my channel. I do post quite a few unique deck types and gameplay. So that's my little plug for doing commentary over the finals match of this. Oh, he's taking another Nothing to Hide just to solidify, just get that extra knowledge. And just like that, Matthew ends up taking, I think, what was game 2. If there is a game 3, I will link it in the description. If this was game 3, Matthew just won the whole tournament.